I'm Prasad Jayanti. I'm a professor of computer science at Dartmouth College in the US. And so a little bit about myself. I went to school in Shri Ramakrishna Mission in Chennai. Then I studied at IIT Madras. That was a long time ago. And then I went to the US, did a master's in engineering and a master's in computer science. Got very interested in computer science, did a PhD at Cornell in computer science, and then went to Dartmouth as a professor of computer science, and that's where I have been the last 30 years, from 1993 till now. And I'm here now, visiting India in my sabbatical, and one of my stops has been Rishihood University. Got here last night and saw the campus in the morning today. It's a wonderful campus. I like the way the campus is, and I have gotten an opportunity to interact with a good number of faculty here. The energy that I see in the faculty to bringing in new ideas, refreshing ideas into the mode of education in India, higher education in India, is laudable. I wish Rishihood with great success in what they are trying to accomplish. There's a lot of youth in India at this point. I mean, we have talked about 65% of people in India being under 35 just a few years ago. I don't know how those numbers have changed since then, but roughly those are the numbers. And it's a tremendous advantage that India has, provided that the 65% of the under 35 can be harnessed and educated in a manner that they will turn out to be excellent citizens for the Indian nation and for the world. And India has had millennia of educational thought, research, and experience. So the tapas, the meditation, the reflection, the engagement of our rishis into spiritual as well as secular scientific understanding of this universe has led to enormous discoveries, creations, and inventions that we all as Indians can be very, very proud of. And first of all, I'm immensely happy that the founders of this university have chosen to name this as Rishihood University, paying respect to the rishis whose parampara has so tremendously influenced us through the millennia. And so long as we are able to impart excellent education that makes students enthusiastic, creative, questioning, critical, not mere imitators of the trends that are set by the rest of the world and the people around them, but are original in their thinking. I mean, there is a great future for the country and the world. And Rishihood's mission, as I understand from having talked to people here, is indeed that. So I wish Rishihood great success with this endeavor. I just gave a 1 hour long lecture in which most of what I said was indeed answering the very question that you just asked. Indian education system should change, and should change a lot. The current Indian education system is something that we cannot be proud of. It is abysmal. And especially when you compare it to the great educational system that we have had through the millennia, that has caused immense successes, our understanding of this universe, immense discoveries and inventions. Really not proud at all at how we are going about educating our children. In particular, we are not making children ask interesting questions. We are not giving them an opportunity to observe the nature, observe the people around us. You need to observe nature and observe nature very subtly to be a discoverer of science. You need to observe people around you to understand their motives, their motivations, and to understand how the world is moving, to understand what your interests are, what the world's interests are, how they are united and how they might be different, and how you should interact with the world, how you can protect yourself, how you can help others. So for all this, you need to have a great understanding of the people around you. For science, you have to have a great understanding of the nature around you, the people around you. Rather than encouraging our children get these experiences, we are holding them up in small classrooms and frying them in a fry pan of the classroom from morning till evening, and not giving them a good educational experience, as a result of which, even by the point that a child, let's say, gets into a college, they are so exhausted and they are so frustrated with having to spend their time learning. Learning should be joyful. And when they get into a great college, they should think of it as a great opportunity for further learning, as opposed to, hey, I got into an IIT and my life is set and I can earn millions without doing anything further. And it's a tragedy that we are giving them. Is not making them more enthusiastic about learning, but is putting an end to their ambition to learn. So anyway, so a lot must change about the Indian education system, and the conversations I have had with the faculty and the founders of Rishihood make me feel confident that they understand precisely what the problems are, because you first have to diagnose the problem to be able to overcome it. And I'm confident from having talked to them that they understand what the problems are, and their minds, like mine, seem to be set on correcting and actually going forward and going about it in a way that will make learning and education and research and discovery and enterprise and entrepreneurship and all those great things that we all talk about and want to see happen. If you want to aspire to be a leader and want to make a positive impact on society, learn about yourself, learn about the society, read a lot, interact with people, observe, talk, narrate your experiences, understand others' experiences, and don't be a blind imitator. If you are a blind imitator, you are not going to be a leader. Okay? If Dhoni tried to imitate Tendulkar, Dhoni would not have become a Dhoni. Okay? Dhoni had his own style, right? And so it doesn't matter whether it's in the realm of cricket or in the realm of physics or in the realm of business. Of course, learn from others. Learn from people before you and reflect on great ideas. But be yourself. Don't be a blind imitator. Let me give you one concrete example. How does the world today, let us say, measure the economic well-being of a country? Right? So the economic well-being of a country is a very complex thing to assess. But, you know, we cannot deal with complexities. So we want to reduce big and important questions to a simple metric that we can all understand. So GDP is one number that we go by, right? So what is GDP? GDP is the gross domestic product. It's the sum total of all the products and services that, let us say, your country has been a part of in a year. But ultimately, what do you want the GDP number to reflect? It should somehow reflect the economic activity of the country, but it's not the economic activity that ultimately you are trying to capture. You are trying to capture not the economic activity of the country, but you are trying to capture the prosperity, you want it to be a metric for prosperity of that country, right? How prosperous the country feels. But is the current definition of GDP the right definition? Maybe it is the right definition for certain countries who may have invented how GDP should be calculated. But take India, for example. In India, let us say, let's take US. In the US, I mean, if I have a child, I send my child to the daycare, and I pay, let's say, $30,000 to daycare. Then that $30,000 will go into the GDP number, right? And let's say, on the other hand, suppose my child lives at home in India and is taken care of by, let's say, her grandmother and grandfather, then it's probably, I mean, as good or very likely better quality care for the child that the child is getting. But in terms of GDP, it is not contributing to the economic number, right? So in the GDP, 0 will get added in the Indian context and 30,000 will get added in the US context, right? But in terms of prosperity, in terms of how good you feel about how well your child is taken care of, let's say you feel good in both places, but the GDP is not somehow accounting for how that prosperity has been created in the Indian system. So if you aspire to be a leader in economics, if you aspire to be a leader in quantifying, I mean, the well-being of the country or this or that, you should critically examine, not just follow the framework that someone else has set up, which may be right from their context. They are not even meaning any malice. It's just that they are looking at it from the perspective that they are aware of. So you have to be able to look at things from your angle and then, I mean, set up the framework so that, I mean, it is appropriate for your situation, whether it's your business or whether it's your country or whatever the entity is. And so a leader, therefore, I mean, should have an independent thought. So you have to have the humility to learn from others, yet the self-reliance to not blindly imitate others. So to have that right balance and to think independently, to creatively, and not just follow frameworks, but when necessary, I mean, establish your own framework. All of those things, I hope, I mean, students will learn to be that. Everything comes with practice. And what better place is there for practice and for learning than a university setting, any university setting, Rishihood being an example. So be that, and I'm sure, I mean, organically it will happen.